Welcome to the Black Weirdo School. Show of hands. Who here identifies as Black? Thank you for being here. You do not need to be Black to be a member of the Black Weirdo School. But if you are not Black, pay attention. Who here identifies as a weirdo? Wow, almost 100%. Good job, CalArts. You do not need to identify as a weirdo to be a part of the Black Weirdo School, although it does help. If you do not identify as a weirdo, we can help you with that. Who here identifies as a Black weirdo? This is for us. Who can recognize this person? Call it out. Audre Lorde! In her seminar in Berlin, the very first session in April 1984, she said, "I don't believe you can learn by passive interaction with the material. Learning can only take place in the active examination of the materials you read next to your own living." Next to your own living. It will be necessary for us to know each other and who we are as we look at this work. I suspect that most of you, because this is coming in a class, already know each other, but just in case, like, say hello to your neighbor. And if you're on Zoom, hello people on Zoom, I'm saying hello to you. And maybe there are even some prospective students for the MFA program in creative writing, and I just want to say, it would be so fun for you to come and be here. Okay, so, I have to take the moments where you can. I learned a few things, because part of my own aesthetics, my own experience of solidarity is to be in deep connection with materials next to my own living, and key materials are books. So as I'm talking, I'm going to just invite people to kind of look at some of the things that I've brought. Or maybe, you know what, just to kind of break the stasis, feel free to come up here, grab a book, and then we'll sort of move them around as I'm talking. And once you get it, you move it around. You share it, you circulate it. That's happening, because I believe that in the world we live in, often we're invited to do more than one thing at a time. So if you're one of these people that's like, oh, I don't think I can look at this and listen to you, it's okay, you can like let the book move. Black Weirdo School, solidarity with ancestors. For me, this is a real invitation to go back and fetch it, as this Akan symbol of Sankofa invites us to do. And it makes me think about like, well, why? Why am I interested in something like a school? What are the origins of that for me? How might that relate to some notions of solidarity that come into play? And I have to really thank my friend and colleague, Dr. Janet Sarbanes, for inviting me to do this, because solidarity is something that is interesting to me, but I wouldn't necessarily have picked myself as the first person to come and speak on that topic. Solidarity, especially I think the thoughtful way that you are bringing the topic into the series, seems to be connected often to direct political theory and action. And direct political theory and action, for me as a Black feminist performance artist, has sometimes, I think, I don't know, just in terms of curation, been sort of pitted against me. I've been invited like, oh, Gabrielle, you know, why don't you come and do a poem in such a place? Or why don't you come and make a performance? And then I'll come with my poem or my performance and it would be deemed like, oh no, that's not what we were thinking. But I'm like, but, you know, I've had that moment. So it was only when Dr. Sarbanes said, well, wait a minute, what about Black Weirdo School? Don't you consider that to be a project related to solidarity? And I said, oh, yes, I do. Solidarity with many things which I'm going to share with you, but especially solidarity with ancestors. Well, we're going to go back and understand, first of all, when we talk about a school, for me, or when we talk specifically about Black Weirdo School, where does that even begin? The specific project, Black Weirdo School, was first mentioned, I guess, publicly in this conversation that I did with Black feminist artist Stephanie Jemison in the Critical Correspondence series of movement research. So this is something that's still online, and if people are interested and want to find it, you can read the whole thing. And really, movement research just reached out to me, said, do you want to have a conversation? We think you're cool. We think Stephanie is cool. You know, what are you into? Why don't you talk about your practice? And so we just like got into it, and it was really fun. We talked on Zoom and then sort of worked with that transcript. And here's the specific section. And I didn't know I was actually going to say this. It was just in the flow of our conversation. We were talking about books. Stephanie is known mainly as a visual artist, and it just put out this book. We were talking about it. I'd had a book not too long before then. And I was saying, yeah, my book is so weird. It's not what people think that it should be. And sometimes people can't make heads or tails of it. It's so hybrid. It's bringing together all of these critical and creative forms. And she's saying, oh no, man, your book is beautiful. I called myself a weirdo, and she was saying, well, all of our fellow weirdos, of course, we appreciate the expansiveness and the multitudes that your book contains. So it was a very kind thing that she was saying. And I responded, I do believe, that's the thing, I do believe that I'm a weirdo. And I love weirdos. And Black weirdos are the absolute best. When I find films or objects or books or poems by people who are a little off kilter and aren't saying exactly what people expect, I just feel so nourished and happy. I have a dream about starting an experimental pop-up school that would be around for a finite time. We would know from the start how long it would last and that it wouldn't last forever. Some classes would be an hour, or a weekend, or a few weeks, or whatever, and some would last for a few years. We would just experiment with different ways. Then, after that finite time, we would sunset it, archive it, and take whatever was productive and give it to other people. The whole thing from rise to shine would last about 5 years. That's a dream of mine. I guess the kind of school would be a Black weirdo school. You know, you could go to hair school or nail school. This is Black weirdo school, where you don't have to be a Black weirdo to come. It's like you don't have to be Black to go to an HBCU, but that's the ethos. Do you see what I'm saying? Just the thought makes me feel so alive, so energized. Maybe in Black Weirdo School, we go to Kentucky Fried Chicken and we put up signs that ask questions about labor practices. And we also eat the biscuits because we're not perfect. Maybe we do that first, eat the biscuits, and then hang the signs. I don't know what we're doing, but I think we should just be everywhere, doing all kinds of things. Because what I am missing in so many institutions where I've been working is that kind of strangeness and zeal and access and mobility and simultaneity of people fussing and finessing over the right things. Biscuits at KFC, Black weirdos. Anyway, that's a dream of mine, that, and to try to make someone fund this, laughs. A lot of things happen in Black Weirdo School Pop-Up Critique. Today, I'm really just gonna focus on the intersection with ancestors and some of the aspects of the Black Weirdo aesthetics, I like to call it. And the way that that intersection with ancestors is first represented is through our presentation of our legacy. I'm like the foundress, by the way, of the Black Weirdo School. I introduce myself as the foundress, and I explain kind of what we're doing, what we're going to be doing in our orientation, and then later as we move into our session together. But we need to understand our legacy and our foundation, which is, these are those that have helped to found our curriculum. Amazing kind of topics that we are known for in the Black Weirdo School are magic, romance languages, power, meteorology, nutrition, astronomy. This is from our foreign exchange program. This is heartbreak, woodworking, architecture, and chemistry. Let's go back. Now, in the show, there would be an opportunity. Each of these slides have a number. And then I would call out and send like someone, you can pick one of them, and then we go and do a deep dive. And each one, and I don't know what anyone's going to pick, but I have assigned for myself that there are certain tasks or there's certain things that could happen with each one. Today, I think what's more interesting is maybe to talk a little, just in case, to see who have I brought into the space? Well, like which ancestors, who are these people? Does anyone recognize, there's someone who has a magic book here. Yeah, that's such a dope book. That's one of those Whitechapel compendiums in the series of art writing. Thinking about like, what is magic? What is the place of magic? And here is this character, an actual person who was known as Black Herman, who would go around and do sort of magic in the world, magic. And this was performance, or this was carny, or this was root work, or this was spirit work. I mean, what is the intersection of that kind of entertainment and spiritual practice? Excuse me. That's interesting to me. Does anyone recognize who this is? I'm so glad some of you recognize. My husband. Just to be clear, a lot of people of all genders and all sexual orientations call Prince their husband. This is from the Prince's second album, which was called Prince. And I just love the romance and wildness of this picture of himself nude on a Pegasus. And what's the representation there of Blackness that we're seeing here? I feel so thankful to have grown up in an era where Prince was dominant, because just what the space that Prince was holding in terms of gender, in terms of music, in terms of race, in terms of sexuality, just so much fluidity, so much expansiveness. I felt like the Black Weirdo School is a site that wants to invite and honor that kind of energy. Who recognizes this person? Marsha, pay no mind Johnson. Here we go. And really, this is a figure for me, a person who really represented the power of living your own truth. So along with Sylvia Rivera, founded STAR, which was, Street, at the time, Transvestites, Activating Resistance. I can't get exactly what the acronym is now. Does anyone know? I know. Culpa's gonna look it up for us so that I can be correct here. Fact check me, please. I'm not AI. I do want to be fact checked.
Action Revolutionary.
Action Revolutionary, even better. It's Street Transvestites. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Action Revolutionaries, and just doing work with members of their community on the streets, organizing, but also insisting on beauty and glamour. And despite some of the lack of understanding of others, even in their own community, she didn't care and continued to do her thing. And I just felt like that's part of the energy of the Black Weirdo School. I stand, as the founders of the Black Weirdo School, I stand in solidarity with that. Now, this is important. These two people are still alive, although their duo has broken up. So that their duo, Aiko and Koma, does anyone know their work? Incredible. Sort of Buto or Buto adjacent dance practitioners that worked together for several decades, were in a partnership. And like many partnerships, they decided to consciously uncouple. But it felt important to me as well, a couple of things. One, thinking about solidarities or thinking about connections between Blackness and others. The Black Weirdo School is not an essentialist sort of affinity group project. I mean, there are some who felt like, oh, this work that you're doing, wouldn't it be so much better if it was really just in an affinity group, or if it was just a Black only space or a POC only space. And I recognize the need for spaces like that at times, and I myself have gone to or benefited from spaces like that, but that's not what this is. For me, it's really important to allow for otherness and difference, and to think about points of intersection beyond just race, even though it is a racially grounded project, through to the cultural lineages and the lived experiences of the ancestors that I am calling on. But really making that be weird, really opening that up has been important for me. And these two people, I mean, I actually had a chance to go to a workshop that they did, which was really stunningly beautiful. It was called a Delicious Movement workshop. And they probably had about 75 people in the room, and they were able to run, just in terms of teaching, the way that they were able to run that, I've never forgotten it. And so I bring that in terms of honoring their energy. Who's this? Grace Jones! Pull up to my bumper, baby, in your big Black limousine. If you all don't know who she is, get involved, because she's amazing. Yeah, I just feel like this kind of stylized, wild, in-your-face embrace of ferocity. I just love her. Yeah. Who's this? Anybody know? Sun Ra, thank you. Space is the place. Really one of, I would say, we could call, I would almost say founder of Afrofuturism, but it's more like a precursor, or an embodiment of Afrofuturism. A person who just was like, I don't know who you think, I don't know what kind of government name you're trying to give me, but my name is Sun Ra. That's all I'm answering to. And I'm going to experiment with music and sound and take us to a whole other level. So this idea of personal cultural reinvention, and also expanding out. I don't have to be from where you say I am. I can build from other points through imagination or through alien connection with actual other beings, depending upon what you believe, because that's what he said. Now, and from our foreign exchange program, we have here Bjork. Oh. I mean, if we're going to talk about weirdos and models of weirdos, one of my absolute favorites. This is Bjork, of course, Icelandic singer. Look her up, get ready. I really wanted to have this. We see the names here. This is Willie, Tyler, and Lester. This show took place in the Automata Theater, which is actually founded by two CalArts professors, Janie Geiser and Susan Simpson. Susan, I think, is no longer teaching at CalArts at this time, but Janie certainly is. And they are interested in kind of experimental object theater, experimental puppetry. And I've done some exploration around puppetry, especially in the African-American tradition. And I was always thinking about, like, what is it like to kind of play with objects when you yourself have been objectified? That became interesting to me. And so thinking about that woodworking in terms of representation of self, other, et cetera, and wanting, because the show took place in Automata, wanting to bring that thread of puppetry into it as well. And also, I mean, ventriloquism is very weird. That's what I would say, it's very weird. Interesting and strange. Anybody recognize this beautiful person? Josephine Baker, this kind of expatriate dancer, singer, entertainer who, you know, like when the racism in the United States got to be too much in the 1920s, she went to France and became a sensation. This kind of reinvention, expatriate identity. I think about architecture relative to her very famous banana skirt, and also someone who took those objects of stereotype and fetish and just mobilized them and turned them into something, I would argue, absolutely her own. Finally, this is a photograph. Actually, my notes are still in my bag, but so later I can tell you who took it. But this is a photograph actually from Paradise Garage in New York City. in the 1980s. And here you're seeing some sort of like queer Black men starting to sort of like vogue and dance and live in terms of their own kind of nightlife and identity and love and sex and desire at a time. I mean, still in this photograph, if I'm remembering the date, still AIDS is there. Is about to really wreak havoc in the community. Like, what is it to still be in your community and to still claim body, pleasure, nightlife, sex, sexuality, desire, togetherness? And so that's where we have chemistry. This is an example of in the show, you know, like how I then am bringing in cultural and artistic ancestors as part of the curriculum for the Black Weirdo School. When I think about solidarity and togetherness, or when I think about this idea of power from below, it's almost like these ancestors are emanating, and then I'm trying to like pull down some kind of energy into my own practice and also into the space, the creative space that we're able to be in together in the work of having or being in the performance. I mean, I definitely, if that is what solidarity is, then I do think that is what I am trying to do in this work.